Bhavne Om Bhavne. Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service. This morning we're going to meditate a few minutes. After the meditation, we have a Dhamma talk and question and answer. So right now, Stephen Subodha is going to lead the meditation.
Let's settle into a comfortable position. We might place right hand over left. We might close our eyes. We want to be alert but relaxed. Now let's take in 3 deep breaths. And now let's generate thoughts of goodwill, loving kindness, metta, starting with ourselves. This is a sincere and wholesome desire that we have. One for our true happiness, peace, that our hearts and minds be unburdened by greed, aversion, and delusion. And we extend these thoughts further to our family, to our friends, to our teachers, to all of our loved ones. May they be happy. May they be peaceful. May they be free from suffering. May they live with hearts and minds unburdened. And we extend these thoughts further to our acquaintances, the people we don't know so well. For them too, we wish them happy, peaceful, free from suffering, that they might live with hearts and minds unburdened, free. And we extend these thoughts further to those that we might have difficulty being around, those that are hard to get along with, those that might even call us enemy. For them too, we have this wholesome intention, this wholesome desire, that they be happy, peaceful, free from suffering, that they live with hearts and minds unburdened, free. If all beings everywhere lived with hearts and minds free and unburdened, who could anyone rightfully call enemy? And so it's with that thought that we spread our loving kindness, our goodwill, our metta in all directions, to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west, above and below, all directions. May all sentient beings be happy, peaceful, free from suffering. May all beings live with hearts and minds unburdened and free. May each and every one of us find peace and ease, contentment in our hearts. And now, with the goodwill that we have cultivated in our hearts and minds, we settle into our breath. We can breathe in a way that creates a pleasant abiding here and now, secure foundation for our mind to rest. So let us spend some time together cultivating our mindfulness of breathing, our concentration on the breath. And continue to return to the breath even when the mind wanders, to make where we are right here, right now, in our body, in our mind, in our heart, our home, our refuge, our island. Continue to return to it time and time again. We'll continue in this practice until we hear the bell.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Subodha, leading the metta meditation. Before we start the Dhamma talk, I'd like to inform some information next week, what we're going to do here. Next week, we are planning to do the Ulambana service, which is September 10th in Sendo. And we invite some monks from different temples. We invite some Vietnamese monks and some Sri Lankan monks also. And we're going to do the service. After the service, we're going to go to Dhananda Hall and we have a Sangha Dana offering Dana for the monks around 12 o'clock, 12:30 lunch for everybody. So we do have Vietnamese food, Thai food, Sri Lankan food, American food, veggie, non-veggie, everything we have. So whatever you like, you can eat there. It's going to be a lot of food. So please come and enjoy that program. It's going to be next Sunday. Plus Sai Maharjan, he's going to give a Dhamma talk also regarding the offering merit for the departure relatives. So come and join next Sunday. Right now, Kusala is here. He's going to give a Dhamma talk. So Kusala, you can come and you will start your Dhamma talk. Podinama, we don't need the tea today because we have food in Ananda Hall. So no need tea.
Okay. Well, happy Memorial Weekend to everyone here and watching. And it is Labor Day weekend. What's it? Did I say Memorial Day? What is wrong with me? I don't know. Happy Labor Day weekend. Don't labor too much. So I'm going to talk about practice again. Last month, I talked about how to start practice. And today I'm going to talk about how to dissect your practice. What does a Buddhist practice mean? And how do we do it? So this is something that I think that's important to everyone who aspires to have a Buddhist practice and do it in a logical and faithful way. So there are three parts to a Buddhist practice. Number one, personal discipline. Number two, mental purification. Number three, wisdom awareness. So let's start with personal discipline. When you become an official Buddhist, you're given 5 precepts. But you know what? You don't need to be an official Buddhist to practice the 5 precepts. You simply need to be a human being. And most people listening to this will qualify. What we need to think about is, how can I reduce my suffering and also at the same time help reduce the suffering of others? So the first practice precept we want to think about as we start our day, every day, all days, is today I will practice not to take life. And most of us are going to be pretty good at that. Most of us aren't going to take anybody out today. But there are mosquitoes in the world, and there are cockroaches in the world, and there are all mice in the world. And how do we not kill them when they're interfering with our life, when they're in our space, our personal space? Well, the idea is to think about how precious life is, how difficult it is to be born, and how difficult it is to stay alive. In LA, every year, we have over 20,000 hit and runs. When you're crossing the street, you got to look both ways about 4 or 5 times before you get to the other side. So it's important to be aware of your surroundings. It's important to understand the sacredness of life. And if you can prevent taking a life, then that will be your practice. So if you have a mosquito that's driving you crazy, maybe you could think about catching it, taking it outside, letting it go, letting it live its little insignificant life, not around you. And we could do the same thing with a cockroach or a bunch of ants in the kitchen. The idea is to see the value of life, and to honor that. Number 2, practicing not taking what is not given, which is a little more difficult than not stealing. But here in LA and other parts of California, we are having crowd stealing, 20, 30 people breaking into department stores and just taking the stuff without even caring what it might do to the business, the people who work in the business, or the general population. Can we not take stuff? Can we understand that we have never owned anything and never will? We are simply using it until somebody wants it more than we do. So, unfortunately, we are given receipts. And that receipt inspires us to think that there's a certain level of ownership connected to what the receipt represents. It's not true. It's all an illusion. If you owned you, would you look like you do today? Or would you aspire to look just a little better? So every time I look in the mirror, I realize I don't own me. I wouldn't look like this if I did. So don't take stuff that's not given. Number 3, loving kindness, no sexual misconduct. The idea is if you are in an intimate relationship, to honor that person and approach them with love and kindness. You don't want to be involved in sexual misconduct, which is greed and hatred, control issues, all sorts of things, to ruin a relationship and to ruin your good karma. Man, that's the thing we're working on in this practice every day, is we're working on transforming energy in the world in a positive, wholesome way, through thinking a certain way, through speaking a certain way, and through acting a certain way. So we need to practice love and kindness every day, any kind of relationship we come in contact with. The other day, I'm in Vaughn's supermarket, buying some essentials. Chocolate donuts were on sale that day. And the clerk behind the counter said, "Would you put some money in this jar for people that are hungry? We're collecting money for people that are struggling to buy food." And in the kindest way I could think of saying, I said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't." And she was shocked. How could you not want to put spare change in this jar? I said, "Well, I feed cats." Proudly, I said that. She looked at me. "Are cats more important than human beings?" "Well," I said, "there are a lot more people feeding human beings than there are cats. We all have our place. We all practice our love and kindness in our own way. Some people feed humans, some people feed dogs, some people feed cats, some people feed birds. Pick how you want to practice your love and kindness and stick by it. The other day I was in Panda Express getting something to go. The woman taking my money said, "We're collecting donations for Maui." I'm in Culver City. You're collecting donations for Maui? Can you just put some money in the jar for Maui? I said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't. I feed cats." She said, "You feed cats and that's more important than Maui?" A lot of people will be donating to Maui. Only a few of us will be feeding cats. It's not going over well, but I need to stick by my guns in a manner of speaking. That's the path I have chosen to feed cats. We have 8 billion people on this earth. We don't all have to do the same thing. If 8 billion people choose what they want to do to reduce suffering in the world will be a much better place. Okay. Number 4. Today I will practice speaking skillfully or not speak at all. If I can't say anything nice, I'm not going to say anything. But if I can say something nice, I will. Because I want my words to be a blessing in a very secular way, not a religious way. I want my words to make a difference when I finally speak them. And it happens every day. And in doing that, I am making a difference in a positive way, and my practice is benefiting. I am becoming a better human being. And last but not least, as we celebrate Labor Day, I will not consume intoxicants today. I won't even drink. I won't even smoke pot. It's all legal in LA. But what is stopping me from doing that is my practice. Because my practice determines my clarity and my kindness. And if I indulge in intoxicants, I will lose some of my clarity and maybe some of my kindness as well. Okay, that's how our practice starts. Every morning, the 5 precepts, you take a couple minutes drinking your coffee and reflecting on the 5 precepts and how you're going to implement them today in your life. Number 2, the second part of our practice is mental purification. That means meditation. That means we actually have to sit down for a couple minutes every day and find a meditation practice that enhances our good qualities, the qualities of generosity, the qualities of compassion, the qualities of wisdom awareness. 2 kinds of Buddhist meditation. We have samatha, tranquility meditation, and we have insight, vipassana meditation. It is said that the Buddha rediscovered vipassana meditation, and that allowed him to achieve his final perfection as a human being. He achieved nirvana. But at that time in India, nobody was practicing vipassana meditation. They were all practicing tranquility meditation, deep states of jhana, of concentration. And they found that during meditation, life was balanced and wonderful and filled with tranquility and peace. And yet, when they arose from their meditation position, that all went away. So the Buddha said, I bet there's a way to meditate where it doesn't go away. And that's when he rediscovered vipassana meditation. And all the Buddhas before him had also practiced vipassana meditation, and they achieved their nirvana. So the big question is, do you want to achieve nirvana Or do you just want to be happy? I want to be happy for the rest of my life. So there's a way to achieve both. The samatha meditation, the concentration meditation, brings us to a very pleasant state. It allows us to let go of the past and let go of the future and just sit in the present moment in a very peaceful way. And we get up and we can actually take some of that peace and tranquility with us out into the world, which is just crazy and horrendous most of the time. And then we can start to see that perhaps this tranquility meditation will lead me to enlightenment. And now we have to define enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment, according to me, is a direct experience of the interconnectedness and interdependence of all phenomena. Wow. We come to a place where we realize we have never been alone, and it's never been about me. It's always been about we. That I can't stand alone. I can't do anything alone. Anything that happens to me in my life, I am one of the contributing factors, but there are 999 other factors that go into the mix to make something happen today. So all the people sitting here today, I know you can't see them, but they're all out there. All the people today had one intention to show up here, but there were 999 other things that needed to happen for them to show up here. This is the true beginning of kindness and compassion. When you realize that you're connected to everything and everyone. That when the people in Maui were suffering, and still are, part of you is suffering as well. When the writers and actors are on the line, marching back and forth, they haven't had a paycheck for over 3 months. There's part of you on that line, and you're not getting paid either. This is the beginning of true compassion and true wisdom. When you come to that place, that direct experience of interconnectedness and interdependence in your personal practice. And then you get into vipassana. And vipassana is really designed to allow you to become aware of 3 wisdom aspects in Buddhism. So let's shift over to the last part. Wisdom awareness of our practice. We want to be aware of 3 things. We could call it a Buddhist wisdom trinity. Number 1, anicca. All things are impermanent. All things are changing. There's no place to stand. There's nothing to hold on to. It's always in a constant state of flux, and it's driving you nuts. If only one day things would just stop for a while, I could have a really good hair day. I could appreciate those new shoes I just got. But man, the wind is blowing, my hair goes everywhere. I just stepped in some mud, my shoes look terrible. Always changing, causing us to be uncomfortable, causing us to change with the ever-changing flux of the universe. So we can't ever stop. We can't ever stand still. It's rather depressing, because on those good days, you don't want them to end. And on those bad days, you wish they would change a little faster. Number 2 of wisdom awareness. All things are ultimately unsatisfactory. Dukkha. All things are ultimately unsatisfactory, but not always unsatisfactory, but ultimately they will be, because when you factor in change, that ruins the whole idea of not having a level of suffering and discontent that you deal with. You just wish once that it would just turn out to be better. But you know what? Somebody once said, who was much wiser than I am, it never gets better. You just get used to it. Man, if that's not real, I don't know what is. I'm waiting for the world to be a better place. I watch TV. I watch the news. I read the internet news. I'm waiting for the world to become a better place. It won't happen in this lifetime. Maybe not next lifetime. I might have to wait a couple 100,000 lifetimes just for the world to get a little bit better. But until then, we all get used to it. But being a Buddhist and having a Buddhist practice, that allows us to have a choice. A few years ago, I was a volunteer chaplain at UCLA. And we were having a Buddhist Catholic dialogue in the Catholic Center. And they had invited a very famous high-level Catholic monk to give a talk. So I was really excited. I brought the whole Buddhist club, and they had the Catholic club, and we were all sitting there. And then the priest comes in, wow, and gives his talk. And then it was time for questions. And I raised my hand. And I said, why does God allow so much suffering? I figured that's the best question a Buddhist could ask of a Catholic priest. And you know what he said? He gave me the best answer that a Catholic priest could give. He said, God doesn't want you to be a puppet on strings. God wants you to have a choice. Your suffering is your choice. I went, man, that was good. And now you look at your Buddhist practice. Your Buddhist practice is a choice. It's something you do every day because you choose to do it. You don't have to do it. Nobody's telling you if you don't do it, you're going to go to hell. You have a choice in what you want to do. And you realize this choice will lead to less suffering, not more suffering. So you do it because there's a benefit at the end of the tunnel, that you will suffer less and everybody in your life will suffer less as well, because you have a choice and you've used the choice in a skillful, positive way. This Buddhist practice is designed to give us back our choice. It's been taken away. Our choice oftentimes is, do you want the blue one or do you want the red one? It's a consumer choice. Do you want the Ford or do you want the Chevy? It's a consumer choice. This is the big choice. This is the choice of how to live your life. This is the choice of how to be intimate with all the aspects of your life in a positive, skillful way. Okay. So now we come to the third part of wisdom awareness, which is the most difficult, but it is the most interesting to all us Buddhist guys and gals, because it says not self. Man, not self. I worked my whole life to create one. I got places to go. I got things to do. I got people to be. Who are you going to be today? I haven't decided yet, but I got a choice. You only have a choice in who you are because there's really no one to create or creating you. It's a psychological aspect that we've been given this wonderful gift thousands and thousands of years ago of a self, of an ego, of self-awareness, and that separated us from the world around us. So we're able to build bridges and roads and cars and airplanes, and we're able to do all this kind of stuff because we are separate from it and we can manipulate it and use it to our advantage. But it's just a psychological mechanism. We don't exist in the way we think we do. Okay. So I had somebody the other day ask me about this. He said, well, you know, what is this stuff? How do you know if it exists? There's a relative and there's an ultimate. How do you define that? And so I thought to myself, what kind of Zen answer can I give? I said, everything and nothing is exactly the same. Look in your dictionary. She went, what? Everything and nothing is the same? How could that be? Everything doesn't look like nothing, and nothing doesn't look like everything. How can that be? I said, that is an ultimate definition, not a relative definition. I said, think of a coin. Think of the head side of the coin and the tail side of the coin. And college football just started, and they're flipping coins like crazy. We'll receive, we'll kick off. But how about if the coin has heads and tails and they're both the same? And you go, how could heads and tails be both the same? Because ultimately, we're talking about the coin, not one side or the other. Man, she said, I still don't get it, but it really sounds good. I said, yeah, and think about you. We have this relative person that we have to be. If you're going to get a passport, you got to be somebody. If you're going to get a driver's license, you got to be somebody. If you're pulled over going 85 miles an hour, you got to be somebody, because they're going to give you a ticket. And if you tell the officer that, you know what, officer, this picture and this driver's license isn't really me, they might take you in for counseling. So you have to be that picture. You got to be these people. You got to be this self. But ultimately, you can think of your practice, and your practice is allowing you to experience the wisdom awareness of not self. And when you have that experience of not self, and think about the interconnectedness and interdependence, when we all become unified, all parts are brought together. We don't have one in Buddhism. There's no one in Buddhism. There's only many that are connected. The Christian concept of one is really powerful. And the Jews in the desert, the one God. Man, our gods, C-O-G, C-O-D, G-O-D-S, our gods are hierarchy. We have the really strong gods, the not so strong gods, the really unskillful gods. The Buddha talked to all of them. He said, you should really do this practice, gods, because you'll be a better God if you do. So we don't have one, we have many that are connected. And when the Buddha was asked what a human being is, he only talked about many that are connected, name and form. Okay, one way of describing a human being. The 5 aggregates, form, sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness. The 5 aggregates, that makes up a human being. He never said the human being is this one thing. The human being is a combination of things, always in process, always changing, not going from past to future even, but in this very present moment, always changing. And now we think about the not self. And if you really understand not self, man, you got no one to defend. They can say anything they want about you. They're not talking about you because there's no you to talk about. If somebody's angry at you, there's no you to be angry at. Okay. And if you find somebody cutting you off on the freeway at 65 miles an hour, there's no one driving that car to be angry at. You just say, thank you for not hitting me, and continue your journey. And when you see all these people who have become someone, celebrities and stars. Think about it. They all changed their name so they could make this person. They could create this person. They could create this celebrity. You know? But then in the end, they're all just like us. We'll end up in the rest home, sitting in a room with a wheelchair and a bottle of water. But that won't be you either. That won't be you either. That'll be just part of the process of life. And then one day, all that good work that you have done in your Buddhist practice will pay off, because you will die and you will have a wonderful rebirth. You might even go to heaven for a while, 100,000 lifetimes. Take a break, you know. Might get to come back as a human being, help some more people, you know. Okay. You might end up in the hell realm because you didn't have a Buddhist practice. But that's not forever either. And when you get out of the hell realm and finally get back to the human practice of the Dharma, you will be a much better person and a valuable person on this planet Earth, because everything you think, say, and do will benefit all sentient beings. And maybe one day, you'll be feeding cats too. Thank you for listening. John, you got any questions? No? Okay. No? Was that okay?
Thank you for the good Dhamma talk today. It's earlier we have the meditation, and then after the meditation, we have a little bit discussed. I share with Spoda a little bit about my 5 precept practice, and when I realized about 5 precept meaning, you know, because before I took precept, I took the refuge in the Buddha and Dharma and the Sangha, just like repeat whatever my teacher tell me, and then I go, after I get out the door, I forget everything. So, but until I realized that 5 precept is very meaning and very helpful, very good lesson, this good medicine to help me to be a better person, be happy, well, the human happiness. So, and I realized that that's a very good practice, and good for me. And so I keep continuing to apply to my daily practice. And
Good.
I'm happy for that. I mean, it happened. You giving talk today about 5 precept. Oh my goodness.
Go figure. Okay. And I might add, if out of those 3 practices we do as a Buddhist, you know, personal discipline, mental purification, and wisdom awareness, if you only do the first one, the 5 precepts, you'll be a much happier and healthier person because of it. Yeah, good. Hi. Of course.
About when discipline becomes obsession. Because for me, I think it's a very thin line. I'm very disciplined. I don't know why and how, but I notice that not even others, but myself sometimes, I ask myself, is it what I'm doing a discipline, or is it a sort of obsession? And how to...
Yes. Well, of course, you're the only one that would really know. But what I would say is this, that the 5 precepts are a safety brake. So if you're on a train and is getting ready to go off the cliff, you pull the cord and all the wheels stop and screech, and just before you go over, you're saved. So the 5 precepts are sort of like that safety cord. And if you're in a situation or a circumstance that you feel a little uncomfortable with, you could use those 5 precepts to help you define the next thought, the next speech, the next action. And sometimes, obsessive, yeah, there are monks and nuns who are obsessive over the precepts. And then there are monks and nuns that understand the precepts for what they are. And so you sort of have to, in a spiritual way, lighten up. And just sort of go with the flow. And if everybody's smoking dope and you're not, then the best thing to do is leave. That's not being obsessive. That's being aware that your clarity now is in danger. And you've worked really hard every morning to make that clarity as sharp as you can. So it's sort of that kind of thing. And not taking. Say there's a pencil on the table, and you're filling out a form and you forgot your pen, and then you say to yourself, I saw that pencil, maybe I could use that. But now the second precept prevents you from using the pencil. Is that obsessive? No, because all you have to do is ask somebody in the room, is it okay to use the pencil? And then you're following the precept and not tripping out over, should I do it? Should I not do it? I don't know what to do. I'm not going to fill it out. Which happens, we just start rolling psychologically. So obsession is easy to get into, hard to get out of. And what we need to do is we need to use our awareness, our meditation awareness, to sort of go inside, which is really difficult because everything wants to keep us outside. And to go inside and just sort of see what's going on, and this is without words. We're not going to be talking to ourselves. We're just going to be observing and looking and using that inner eye. I gave an example yesterday at Leisure World. I gave a talk at Leisure World yesterday. 7,500 old people. My favorite audience. They weren't all there, but we had a few. And I said, one of the things I hate to do is to go to an art museum with somebody who's an expert in art. And they said, why would that be the case? I would think you'd want somebody who's an expert. I said, no. I'm looking at a picture and he's telling me about the artist and the time frame and what kind of paint was used and what this and what that. And the more words he speaks, the less I can see the picture. And pretty soon I can't see the picture at all. I can only see his words. And I'm going, man, I thought that was a pretty good picture until he started talking. So sometimes what we can do is use our eyes, inner eye, and not our mind, and just become aware, that kind of thing. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good, thanks. Hey, John.
Thank you for that talk. The one thing I was going to add is, even if you're not confident in multiple lives, or if that's easy for you to imagine or have faith in, you can still find a lot of peace in this lifetime from everything you're saying.
Right, and I'll add to that. Yeah, we don't have to talk about actual lifetimes. We can talk about Tuesday. Who was I Tuesday? And who was I Wednesday? And what happened Thursday? And Friday I didn't show up. And so multiple lives happen in a day, in a week, in a month. We don't have to get metaphysical and think about Egypt when you were just a worker. You can go, okay, Tuesday, man. I wasn't a good life for me on Tuesday. but Wednesday turned out to be wonderful. So it's that kind of thing. So you have to put it in your perspective. And if you want to be giant and go into many lifetimes, that's fine. Buddhism allows you to do that. If you want to go in and just have a week of lifetimes, that's cool. You can do that too. If you want to just have one day of lifetimes, because all through this day, you will be different folks. We'll recognize you because they're all sort of similar, but you'll be different. So you can use that, I think, as a perspective. Thanks, John. Yeah, good. And it is 12 o'clock, which means it's over. So we have a little chanting to do, and then have a wonderful Labor Day weekend.
Thank you. We're going to chant page 4 and page 10. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, dhammam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami. Sentient beings are numbers. I save them all. Deluding passions inexhaustible. I vow to end them all. It's are limitless. I vow to study them all. Buddha's way is supreme. I vow to attain it. May suffering once be suffering free, and the best of skills be. May the grieving shall all grieve, and the sick find help freely. Thank you for again, everybody. Please go to the next floor. We have lunch in Ananda Hall. You can enjoy there lunch. So again, I want to mention next Sunday is going to be the Ulambana service. Please come and join with us. That's it right now. By the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, you will be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.